Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back. I appreciate the support. You guys know that. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see an email address. That's the email address for subscribers of this channel. By all means, if you want to drop me a note online or any type of material that you think will make good material to make a video on to show to the listening audience, by all means, you can drop it off there. If you want to just talk and say hello, or you want some advice on YouTube on how to grow your channel, or on starting a business or anything like that, guys, you know, my time is your time. But I want to jump into something, and I want to tell you a little story real quick. And I'm going to show you this quick TikTok link, and it's like a 2-minute video. But before we get into that, before I show you guys, actually, I'm going to tell you this little story real quick and just hear me out on this. When I was younger, you know, I'm from Camden, New Jersey. Now, I have a lot of listeners from Jersey, so they know a lot of these places I'm talking about. When I was younger, there used to be well, there still is a place. Right next to Camden, New Jersey is a place called Merchantville, New Jersey. It's a small, it's like one road that runs through it. There's a few blocks that come off of that road, but they had a public park there. And the public park had brand new, you know, nice basketball courts and stuff. And the houses that are near that park, now it's a public park, anybody can walk up to it. There's no gate or anything around it. Anybody can walk up to it, but the houses is houses that are surrounding the park, you know, on 3 sides, that a lot of doctors and, like, you know, rich folks owned. And my brothers and them used to go and play basketball there. They were probably about 18, 19 at the time. I'm in my early 20s, already out in the world. And they went one time, and I went with them. And they would play basketball, but they were like running around real fast and like, hurry up, shoot the ball. And I'm like, why are y'all acting like that? And my brother looked over to the side and he said, that's why. And 4 police cars rolled up. And the guys got out the car. They were kind of agitated. And they said, hey, if you don't live in this area, you cannot play on these basketball courts. That was shocking to me. That was shocking because, you know, I was like, well, they're basketball courts. You know, I'm older. So I'm saying, well, they're basketball courts. Why can't these kids play on them? And he felt as though he didn't want to say anything or answer the questions, but I mean, or like I was pissing him off. I wasn't trying to be smart. I didn't interrupt him or anything. I just asked the right questions. Why can't they play on the court? Oh, well, if you don't live over here, you can't. You just can't. I said, yo, that sounds racist right there, man. And I said, you know, you don't know where we live. But I mean, he knew we didn't live in the area. I said, we could be visiting somebody or something else. You don't know. And for you to sit up there and do this is wrong. Well, yeah, well, you can go downtown and fill out a complaint or something like that, knowing that, you know, kids ain't going to go fill out no complaint. But basically what they were saying is these people pay too much money and their taxpayer dollars to have these basketball courts sitting here where no children around that ever playing on them. And you're not from the right town. And because you're black, you can't play on these because blacks are destructive. And that's basically what he was saying in layman's terms. Plus, we don't need more ghetto people coming around here and playing. So we'd rather just have the court sit here and collect dust because there are no children in this area that even play on. And I thought that was telling. And that was one of the first moments I ever dealt with something that was technically, like I look at it, as a racist incident. So with that being said, this clip is exactly what I went through, but these guys were nicer. Check it out.
You need a permit to be in this park if you don't live here. So if you don't live here, you have to leave unless you go.
So you telling us we can't be no visitors in our people's houses? So you can't call no. So we can't call friends that to come get on the park.
Live here?
Now, township ordinance states that if you don't live in the township, you can't be here. And if anybody outside of the township wants to be on here, you have to have a permit for them to be here.
Where's it at?
Got the ordinance. You got the township building to read it.
Well, can we get this coordinates?
You can. We just told you to go up to the township building.
Where the township building?
Right over there.
The Brown Center?
Yes.
We can get it right now?
No, it's closed. Normal business hours.
I
9
don't.
to 5.
So y'all saying we can't be visitors at our own community?
Well, our
So we can't help build the community either?
No, we're telling you. No, we can't. I know, but listen, we're just you know what the ordinance is. I know, but because you don't know what the ordinance is, it's not our fault. So if we ask you for your ID and you don't live here, you have to leave. Otherwise, you're against the ordinance.
So I guess we trespassing. So you saying we trespassing? So you saying we trespassing?
They don't want to say that though.
We don't have to.
So are we trespassing?
And it is true. So if I feel like you're getting harassed right now, you can go and pick up the ordinance tomorrow, and then you can come to our station and file a complaint. I'm telling you what the ordinance is. If you go tomorrow, pick up the ordinance, it's going to say that.
At all.
Okay? And then you're going to know we're telling you the truth. So it doesn't matter. I know, yeah, like, that's the key word you say. Then we'll know. That's what I'm saying. We don't know. It doesn't matter if you don't take us to speech right now. That's too much.
Too much. For a bench warrant, they talk about bench warrant. Now we can't play on public courts. We can't play on public courts. They're public servants, but we can't play on public.
Guys, I want to share something with you, and I'm being dead honest. When police are called on you, because we found out that it was an old lady across the street, and she was way across the street, who was a wife of a doctor, you know, in her late 80s or 90s, would call the cops if anybody black was on the basketball court by themselves. And that's the kick, because I'm going to show you how smart I was when I was younger. So the cops, I would speak to the cops and they'd say, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. So I made the kids get in the car. They was upset. So I went and got a friend named Danny and went back the next day. And a guy named Marcus, who went to my school. And they lived near Merchantville, but they didn't live in Merchantville. So we went and got 2 white guys, and it was 4 of us. So it's 3-on-3 basketball. We went out there and played. Cops drove by, came back. Because, I mean, we would be out there, guys. This is how you know something was going on. We would be out there about 5 minutes, and police would just come out of nowhere. I mean, out of nowhere. How did you know we were over here? Even when it would be shaded with trees, they would just show up. And, you know, I'm not that dark, you know what I'm saying, to where, like, if it was a shadow or something, you couldn't see his back over there moving and all this other stuff. You know, we stood right out. So I made sure our white friends had came with us. The cops pulled up, right? Looked, same cop as the day before. I said, look, there they go right there. So all of us looked, the white dudes too. Cop looked, drove off. So now we figured out every time we went over there, we had to have white people with us. And that's when I knew it was messed up. So I went to my grandfather, right? And I told my grandfather what was going on. And, you know, he just told me, you know, he wound up buying us a basketball court to put, you know, it ain't the same thing where you can run full court, but, you know, it was a basketball court that we could put in the street and have a, and I mean, it supplemented it, but I mean, it wasn't a real thing. But I mean, I understood the situation. And that's the first time out of like 2 or 3 times in my whole life from being all over, traveling all over and living in different places that I had dealt with something like that. Now, a lot of us don't understand the difference between being prejudiced, having something that's racist, and then something that's, you know, discriminatory. That was more of a discrimination. You know, they're discriminating against us because our skin color. It's not really, I mean, I guess it can be a web off of the core of racism, but I mean, that's not exact racism itself. A lot of times that can be lack of understanding or lack of fear. And not you, but fear of something turning into something bigger. It's kind of like, say it's a sport and they don't want a certain color to play because they're very dominant in that sport. Like basketball. Say like basketball started off as a white sport only. Then black people started coming. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, you can't play because you're black. But everybody knows they can't play because they might be more athletic or something like that. That's discriminatory. You know what I'm saying? They're discriminating against you because of something. Or it might be a fear of something. I think, by us being black, Camden right next door, you know, oh, it's black people. They got to be from Camden. If they keep coming over here, it's going to be more of them. They'll start tearing up the park. That's what it was. And I was young enough to catch that and not play the victim role. And I want you to notice something in those video, in the video. Two things. Number one, the guys that were talking to the police, they asked the right questions and they were in line with character, how they dealt with it. The cops were too. The second thing is, the reason why I brought up the cops, right? The cops are not the bad guys in this, guys. And this is what I was trying to get to with the first scenario. And this is when I started learning stuff and my grandfather started explaining to me. The police, if they are called, they will address the issue from the one who called it. Lady called, oh, they're bouncing a basketball. They're loud because she saw we were black. And black people have a tendency of being animated and loud and stuff. I'm old. I can't get no sleep. I found all this out later. So they would come out and now we got a crime, disturbing the peace. Hey, guys, y'all can't be out here. You're not from around here. That's the excuse they use. Instead of saying, hey, man, somebody says you're loud. They can't say that because I told them explicitly, listen, we're not even loud out here, you know? And I said, we're not little kids. We're you know, young adults. You know, I said, these are my brothers and their friends, and I'm just driving them, you know? And they didn't want to hear it. But one time, because this happened about 4 times. One time, off and on. One time, it was a fat cop. They were all the Merchantville cops were white at the time. Fat cop come, and when I start asking the same question, I'm looking around at him. He's in the back, and he like, yeah, and he rolled his eyes like, and then he did like this. Like he tried to show me who's calling. So we all turn our head and look. You see the lady in the thing. She closed the window. I said, that's now. He kind of told on her. And when we all looked over there and saw it, the cop looked back, and then he looked at the officers like, how did they know that somebody was telling? Police will protect property before they protect you. They will honor a complaint before they honor your side. That's why it doesn't pay to argue with a police officer when they're called on you, because you will lose every time. And I think I'm going to do a video on that. But guys, listen. They gave these people out. They said, hey, listen, you can go over there and get a thing. But they said, oh, it's closed today, which was some corny stuff. But I think, honestly, somebody called the cops on them. Because the way them police rolled up, you know, police ain't going to just go over there and be like, hey, you're black, stop. You know what I'm saying? I mean, police nowadays, back in the day they would, but I find that hard to believe. Because no cop wants any scrutiny or reprimand. Like, why are you bothering those people? Cops are folks too. They don't care. Ain't no cop trying to write no paperwork, man. They're not. And I just think, honestly, guys, somebody called the cops on them, and it was that bullshit. But like I said, man, a lot of times people have fear and people have misunderstandings about you with your color, and they associate you with what they see en masse on TV about the depiction of what you as a person might be like. And that's messed up. That's prejudice right there. But guys, leave a comment, man. Tell me what y'all think about the story. It's messed up because I've lived that. And, you know, I try to do stories, you know, I do stories where they're animated and stuff like that. But I try to do stories where I can really give an account of things I've been through, so I can really give a good video to you guys, because the feelings they felt, whether it's happiness, sadness, or despair, I've experienced it. Thus, I can give it to you, and it'll make the videos that much more, you know, realish. But like I said, guys, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.